Skyrim's success is quite frankly unmatched, and despite being released over 13 years ago, it still has a death grip on gamers, modders, meme lords, content creators, and yes, even modern consoles. Despite receiving numerous unwanted updates years after its release, which totally screwed up our mod lists, the fan base has been incredibly loyal, and perhaps too loyal. Many of you, like myself, have purchased and repurchased Skyrim on numerous consoles and even under different editions because, well, our undying love for this game is just too strong to be contained. As of this video, I have purchased Skyrim a total of 9 times. Xbox 360, PS3, Xbox One Digital, PS4, PS5 Digital, PC, Switch, PSVR, and PCVR. And at this point, I admit a toxic relationship with Todd, unable to say no to buying his game despite him only hurting me more and more by his greed and totally unnecessary updates messing up my mod lists. But there's a reason why we can't say no. Skyrim shook the gaming world in revolutionary ways. During its initial release, Skyrim was able to capture long-standing Elder Scrolls fans and the broader gaming community through the appeal of open world, choices matter mechanics, and player customization, and most importantly, a modern gaming polish that made all the previous points palatable for newcomers. Now, while Skyrim wasn't the first to utilize these mechanics, it did add a new level of polish and also brought it to the mainstream. To date, Skyrim has sold over 60 million copies and continues to grow each year. Its continued success is not just a product of nostalgia. The game itself really is a perfect solo role-playing experience. Now sure, it has its flaws, and that's kind of the Skyrim charm, and also where mods come in. And if you're watching this video, you likely have roleplayed at least 10 different variants of stealth archers over the years, and you will probably start again like you do every single year during your annual Skyrim binge. Because what else are you gonna do while you wait for Elder Scrolls 6? Despite our insatiable eagerness for Elder Scrolls 6, Skyrim's success has now become a curse for Todd, which really puts Bethesda in an impossible situation. Today I want to talk about the future of Elder Scrolls through a marketing perspective and why Skyrim is both the cornerstone and the tombstone for Bethesda. Welcome back, nerds, to the channel. I hope you're having a great day. Let's get into it. I think we all can agree that each year we hope for news regarding Elder Scrolls 6 while trying to heal from the pain caused by that trailer some 7 years ago. Elder Scrolls fans clutch to that trailer while games we've never asked for are shoved in our faces, and we, like poor beggars, eat right from Daddy Todd's hands in desperation. You would think that Todd would recognize the success of Skyrim and double down on his efforts, but instead we receive titles like Starfield and Skyrim Anniversary Edition, which was only palatable because people are starving for good content. Now, maybe you're someone who actually liked Starfield, but if you're honest with yourself, did it actually spark that childlike wonder like Skyrim did when it first released oh so many years ago? The real issue here is that Skyrim worked. Skyrim was successful, and oftentimes I believe that causes passivity in creators. I think Todd has actually been defeated by his own success. The drive to succeed has been quelled by Skyrim's massive profit margins, and the likelihood that Bethesda makes a game that outperforms Skyrim becomes slimmer and slimmer with each passing year. It's almost like Bethesda is afraid to make another game because they worry it'll either kill Skyrim's continued sales or they can't drop another banger in the shadow of Skyrim. But that fear is actually the issue if true. Now, from a marketing perspective, the amount of time that has passed since Skyrim's release is actually crippling Bethesda and created a monster out of us fans. Bethesda's reputation is now laughable and heavily motivated by insatiable greed, causing massive mistrust from players. Additionally, our expectations are fueled by modern gaming capabilities, meaning any future Elder Scrolls title will be an instant collapse if they don't create a new engine that features polished combat while also running at 60 FPS, which I'm not saying 60 FPS is needed for a good game, but that is often the unspoken expectation for studios of Bethesda's size and rapport. Now, during this Elder Scrolls hiatus, our culture has sunken into severe brain rot due to overstimulation, which makes me worried that younger gamers won't actually appreciate long quest lines that don't offer frequent hits of intense dopamine. One of the critiques of Skyrim from Morrowind and even Oblivion players was that Skyrim, while a great game, lost sight of a core mechanic. Instead, Skyrim often handheld the players from start to finish and lacked many of the classes, skills, and even magical abilities seen in previous titles. In other words, Skyrim sacrificed its Elder Scrolls spirit for success, and it worked. Skyrim became mainstream and still is being talked about all these years later. However, many are now wondering, in light of other recent Bethesda titles, what sacrifices will be made in Elder Scrolls 6 in an attempt to recreate that Skyrim success. And based on Bethesda's history, I don't know if they really know how to strike that balance. I believe that the sweet spot for releasing Elder Scrolls 6 should have actually been right around the end of 2021, or exactly 3 years after the Elder Scrolls 6 trailer dropped. This timing would have allowed the game to benefit from the new gen gaming hardware and the unpredictable benefit of the lockdowns, where gaming actually had a massive spike. Todd claims that Starfield was his passion project, but truthfully, Starfield should have been held off for several years after Elder Scrolls 6 and DLCs were released to secure another massively successful title, which would have provided more than enough funding for Starfield and other future games. Your customer base, Todd, is literally begging you to make something, and instead of giving them what they would literally drop money for, you ignore their plea. Instead, you interrupt your fan base's mod list a decade after release so that you can sell an official fishing mechanic, which is such a trash idea. There was an interview done with a Skyrim lead, Bruce Nesmith, who admittedly reported he was the guy who advocated for the removal of the famous attribute system seen in Oblivion, which was the way your character was initially designed during the creation process and how they leveled up throughout the game. This simplification process has been occurring since Morrowind, moving further and further away from character sheets, unique customizations, and mechanics seen in more traditional role-playing adventures like D&D. Now, Nesmith did report that despite the recent success of games like Baldur's Gate 3, he doesn't see Bethesda Studios moving back to the complexities found in games like Baldur's Gate. My fear as a longtime fan is that Elder Scrolls 6 would become so stripped down that it would be no different than God of War, which is a great story and has some customization, but it's not a role-playing game. And we all play Skyrim and other Elder Scrolls games to role-play. Now, I'm not saying we need visual dice rolls to appease the community or to see success, but I do think there's a way to capture a multivariate community into one house. So what should Bethesda do? The Elder Scrolls audience is the most diverse it has ever been, creating even more pressure and expectations on what this next game should be. Skyrim seemingly unified traditional Elder Scrolls lovers, D&D fans, role players, Dark Souls rejects, ARPG enthusiasts, casual gamers, and lore hunters, meaning if Elder Scrolls 6 will want to see at minimum the same success from the core base, they will need to account for the appeal from all of these communities. And no, I don't think that's asking too much. I think that the next Elder Scrolls game should offer robust choices, thoughtful and unique quests, a large world worthy of exploration, weapons that are memorable, character creation sheets that have real world benefit, diverse bosses, lore that connects previous games, and guilds that are really robust and malleable. And I think that that would actually provide wild success. Todd, I think you truly got way too greedy and waited way too long for Elder Scrolls 6 and just wanted to milk Skyrim some more. And while your success has been your downfall, I do think you can come back from this, Daddy Todd. I think you need to really listen to the fans, their wants, their dreams, and trust that if you deliver, you will see user-generated content and reviews and discussions about your games for years to come singing your praises. This is one of those moments where you can either choose corporate greed, which dies when you're dead, or you can leave a legacy of how you made a game that the community will cherish forever. I really think you need a new engine, and I think you really need to lean back into the roots of what Elder Scrolls actually is, while taking advantage of modern technology. Please make meaningful quests with beautiful overworld music. Bring back Jeremy Soule. Make that Skyrim grandma on YouTube, make her an NPC with her own N. Now, obviously, Bethesda can't go back in time to release Elder Scrolls 6 sooner, but Bethesda, if you really want to win the hearts and frankly the wallets of your fan base for another decade, you need to consider the cry of your fans. Focus on writing an amazing main story that ties into several DLCs. Design the game with replayability at the forefront. Remember, the reason why we bought so many versions of Skyrim wasn't because we had amnesia. It's because we wanted to experience Skyrim through various builds, rule sets, and classes. Lean into the risk like Elden Ring and Baldur's Gate 3 did, and have new meaning with your game. Make Elder Scrolls 6 a place where players can truly quest through. And oh yeah, play nice with the modders. They literally have carried you for the better part of a decade, fixing problems that you were too lazy to fix without charging your fans actual money to get that fix. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and remember, be nice to each other. We're all gamers, we're all humans, we're all on the same side. It's not meant to be us against each other, it's meant to be us against these greedy corporations. Now, if you like this video, check out my other Skyrim roleplay stories and other Skyrim content, and until next time, Fus Roda.